everyone. Robin Moser, Anna, and Victoria. And I apologize if my fingers were a little faster on the screen. So we're doing take two.
Take two, yes. If you ignore the first one, it didn't work out. I just noticed, Robin, like you and I both in patterns today. So we need
just out of context.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
You like the neutral one.
Exactly. You're like the like chocolate in between the two creams.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, it would be too busy.
Oreo. Yeah, exactly. The opposite Oreo.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we are making a new cocktail today. Again, it's new to me. I never tried it before. Have you?
I've never.
Okay, so it's called Suburban. And Robin's going to take us through the recipe. It looks like pretty easy and dangerous.
It does look dangerous. It is a super simple drink. So you just start with your ice and your shaker. Here again, we have the beautiful shaker from Fifth and Vermouth. An amazing, amazing product.
Yes,
one of my faves.
Yeah. By the way, they have a new collection.
Ooh.
Yeah, check it out.
Southern Comfort here. You're doing 2 ounces of Southern Comfort.
I was saying I haven't had Southern Comfort in like so many years, and my friends know why.
And when I smell it and say, "Oh, it smells so good," Anna says, "You didn't grow up in Canada here."
And
it smells really
Jack
good.
Daniels.
And JD, we got serious bottle of JD going for 3 ladies. Super size.
Now, the one that's different about this one is you actually shake it in your shaker glass,
and then you actually pour everything,
like
including the ice, back into your rocks glass. Okay. So you actually pour it all in there.
Easy. Okay.
And then you take your bitters.
Is it special bitters?
No, just the regular bitters.
Using Agostada bitters.
Yeah, and then you just kind of drop it on top.
Oh, you quite a bit. So lots of bitters.
Yeah. And then stir it all together.
Victoria.
And that is it. So
all the drinks are ready here.
This is really exciting because she's going to have her first taste of Southern Comfort.
Yes, and there is no juice.
And there is no juice.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Bottoms up. I think it's it's lots of JD in this.
It is. So if you're someone who likes those kind of sipping drinks, strong drinks,
ginger ale will go well with
it. Like just
JD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely for those people who like those kind of stronger drinks. I like my fruity drinks, so
the sweetness does come from Southern Comfort.
100%.
However, you don't smell it or taste it as much as usually Southern Comfort drinks do. It's very JD. I would think like a splash of ginger ale will go really well in this one.
Well, and this actually, what was interesting about this cocktail is there was 2 ways that you could do it. It was a JD and Coke, or it was this.
Oh.
And I feel like a JD and Coke is a 2x4. It was 2 ounces of JD with 4 ounces of Coke.
Oh, like we're doing 2x4, not Suburban. See, like I even said.
Did you say Suburban? Sorry, it's a 2x4.
We're making 2x4, right? So see.
Yeah. She was on next week. She's actually
I had a game
into the future.
That's right. So yeah, 2x4.
Oh, sorry, hang on. I'm really hitting everything wrong today.
2x4, and the reason we made that 2x4 is because we're talking about working with the builders.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. We left drinks for Rob to try last week.
Oh,
How did he like them?
So that's right. We did. He liked the Victoria's drink the most.
Oh, really?
So whatever that was very smooth. Yes. And then of course, and then he liked yours. He just noticed that the smoothness of her drink the most, right? And of course, the one I had is more punchy. So he liked all of them, but if he had to pick, he's like, oh, when he had her drink sip, he's like, oh, this is so good because it was smooth. It went like velvety.
Nice.
Yours were more on the caramelly side with a little bit more stronger taste to it, and mine was like more strong of everything.
Yeah, the Nulu is
so I had the Lulu, right?
Nulu, and I had Wellers.
That's
and
right.
then you had I don't remember the name of that.
I
bourbon.
definitely need to practice more because for me all the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, you know what? It takes years of actually building the palate, especially for like hard alcohol, like, you know, if you're tasting like scotch or whiskey or rye or like, you know, bourbons, they're all very different.
Yeah.
But when you haven't explored, and you have to kind of drink them straight in order to really get to know them. And I had that thing with scotch because Rob loved his scotches. Yeah. And for longest time, everybody was serving only like peaty scotch, extra peat. Like, I could like, it's like chewing on a fire stick. So I remember we went to Willow Park and they had a scotch tasting. It was like a client appreciation thing. And I saw, they had a wonderful man, David Michel, who was their buyer, and he brought single casks and he went and handpicked scotch for the store. And he's the one who, okay, Rob likes this. Why don't you try this ones? And that's where I found like some of the ones I really liked. And eventually you actually build your tolerance to pit.
Yeah.
Smokiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, okay. So we're talking about buying with a home builder today.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that you need to know about buying with a home builder. And first of all, a lot of people don't realize is that you can actually bring in your own representative. So realtors can represent you not just in resale property, for sale by owner property, houses that aren't even listed yet. They can also represent you when it comes to buying with a builder, and they can come in and they can advocate for you so that you can make
protect all your interests.
Absolutely. Yes. So, but the biggest thing we always tell people is you need to make sure you read your contracts closely. Now, being realtors, we know exactly what clauses to look for, what to make you aware of. We know how to read those contracts and understand what they're saying and how those clauses are implemented when the purchase of a build is going on, which is why we always do recommend you use a realtor. And the builders still pay the realtor. So that is already all worked into the price. So if you don't go in there with a builder or with a realtor, you're getting the same price on the house, and you're just not getting the service of someone representing and advocating
you won't
for
save
you.
money on like being there for your.
Yeah, in fact,
your
you
own.
may spend more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is nobody who gonna be pulling you back or consulting you, or it's like a second opinion, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like there's a great builder representatives who work in show homes. They super knowledgeable of the product, but at the end of the day, they're there to sell the builder's product.
Yeah.
And they will not stop you from particularly doing some mistakes. There are some veterans who would say like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But it's not many. And again, I don't know if they act exactly the same thing if I'm not sitting across the table, because when I am there, my clients tell me the builder representatives behave differently than if they go there by themselves.
Yeah.
So,
well, and the thing you have to remember too is there are some upgrades that they may not push you on that will say, for resale, because we're not just looking at the house that you're building now. We're going to look at it as an actual investment, saying,
there's years from now.
Yeah, years from now, when you go to sell this house, what are the upgrades that you can't do now? So like I always say 9-foot ceilings. 9-foot ceilings in the basement, 9-foot ceilings on the main floor. If you get 9-foot ceilings on this upper floor, yay. Yeah. But the higher ceilings is always
the higher the better.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like those are the kind of things that I'm always pushing my clients to consider. Additional windows, stuff like that. Thinking about all those things that you can do into a house.
Yeah, like back in the day, for example, roughing in the basement for the bathroom wasn't included.
Yeah.
And I know it's still very seldom, but there is a builders that in a entry product does not include because it's an extra money. Yeah. But I would be highly recommend, even if you're not developing the basement, to put a roughing for the bathroom. Yes, an extra money, but when the buyer will come and purchase the home, that's going to save them money to put the bathroom. It's going to make their job easier, and therefore your home becomes valuable.
And to be honest, there is a lot of ridiculous upgrades which cost tons of money. For example, like recently, a couple of months ago, the builder proposed my client to have a dog shower near the garage door.
Oh.
So it looks like a tiny shower. He has a small dog. So like but it costs 30 grand.
30 grand?
For a dog shower?
It's cost less for the human shower.
Oh my gosh. Well, see, these are the kind of things. But
I mean, if you're a dog lover, let's put it this way. There are some people who are serious dog lovers. Yeah. And if you have the money and you building a luxury product, it'll be okay.
But it won't increase your value.
No.
When you're going to resell, you won't ever get the
you have to
back
no.
because you have the shower. So that's that's what you need to consider.
Yeah, but every builder's contract is different, and every builder's inclusions is different. So it's
Yes.
always very important to make sure that you go through exactly what they've included and exactly what's in their contract. So don't think because you've read one builder's contract that it's like the other builder's contract. In real estate, because we all work under the Alberta Real Estate Association, we all use the same purchase contract from resale house to resale house or condo to condo. But in builders, each builder writes their own contract with their lawyers, and it does tend to generally favor the builder, and it's to their benefit. Now, keep in mind as well is they don't negotiate the clauses within those contracts, because for builders, it's an unemotional sale. They don't really care whether you
you
buy their
cannot take
house.
it or leave it. Like, you don't like my contract, sorry.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I've had clients where they're like, well, I want to negotiate these clauses out. Yeah, no, we don't do that.
No.
And they don't.
We can massage the price. We can massage some upgrades. We can include certain things that is not included. There is a certain things we can move working with the builder. If you don't ask the question, the answer is always no, right? So that's where we come in with our expertise. We know what we can work with the builder and what we can't. But yes, it's very important to read the builder's contracts, especially if you doing like a custom home build. Those are totally all different, because every lawyer, every company has its own lawyer. How they represent the client could be very different. So,
well, and the other thing to think about as well is that the sales associates that work at the builder, they work for the builder. They only work for the builder. They're not regulated. They're not licensed. There's no oversight to them.
They do get paid hourly plus commission.
Yes. But for realtors, we're licensed, we're regulated. So we're actually under law, have to give you certain rules and obligations and stuff like that. I have been in builders where salespeople will say things like, well, I'm here to work for you. They're not. They're there to work for the builder. They're paid only by that builder. They only work for the builder. They are an employee of the builder. And it bothers me when I hear that, because, and I'm not saying all salespeople are bad. There are some amazing salespeople, but I'm just saying is that when I hear a salesperson say, I'm here to help you, I'm here to work for you, they're really there to work for the builder.
Yeah, I think
we have an obligation.
I think they genuinely
legally.
Some sales representatives like there to kind of help you to put that deal together.
Yeah.
But let's say there is a trouble and there is issues, disagreements. The representative will be representing the builder, not you, because they actually get paid by the builder.
Absolutely.
And employed by the builder.
So they have obligation.
That's right.
Yeah. Not to you.
In their and in their clauses, there are certain clauses that you want to be aware of.
In the contract,
in their contracts, there are certain clauses that a lot of the builders have that you should probably think about and make sure that you clarify or be aware of. Just know that this is, the builder in every builder's contract has a clause that says if they can't start the construction of your property within 6 months because they're unable to get permits, that they can actually give you your deposit back, say, I can't build the house, but it's your deposit less what they've earned trying to get those permits. So that can be something to think about. I always say I feel more comfortable as soon as they break ground, because as soon as they break ground, now we know what's going ahead. Now, I've had clients that really stress until they break ground. It's not a stress. I've honestly never seen a builder give the deposit back because they couldn't get permits, because generally they don't invest into the project unless they know they can do it.
Although there is also with the custom home builders that do inner city, there could be the clause. I just kind of, while you were talking, I come up in my, it's not just the permits. It could be just inability to start. They are running into financial trouble. They don't have a crew. That's going to be, the weather has been uncooperative. And they just basically, they sometimes custom home builders not as well positioned financially to carry the projects ahead. And that also could be the cause for any reason the builder doesn't start the build.
And then the other thing is that the builder actually can have clauses in there that says that you can't enter your construction site of your project, of your home, without having a salesperson with you. And if you do, you can avoid it. They can void your entire contract and not give your deposit back. Now, this actually doesn't happen a ton in Calgary. Out east, it happens a lot.
Wow.
So it is something that's happening out on the East Coast. So keep that in mind that it could start happening here. because
Yes.
it is already trending out east that people have had their contracts voided because they went into the house without permission while it was being built. You do not own your house until the day of possession.
That's right.
It is the builder's product and the builder's property until that day.
Yeah, and it's important to remember, like, that again, all the builders are very different in their policy of how you arrange your site visit. Sometimes it's more flexible, like you can go with the builder representative, project manager at any time. Some say no, you have to have only at this stages because they have a harsher policy. Like let's say it's a temporary stairs,
Yeah.
and they not don't have railings. Like some of them have hard hats only,
Yeah.
closed toe shoes only. I've been to
No
the site.
children.
Yes, I've been to the site actually 2 weeks ago. It's a full-on construction, no railings, no hard hats, just come in and wander around. So so every builder has different site policy, and you have to respect that, because as I actually learned also a couple of weeks ago, like from one of the project manager, some of the project managers are contractors that work for the builder. Therefore, they're also liable personally if somebody gets injured on site, and therefore they have like no way until I tell you can go with somebody, you entering the site.
The other thing to think about too, and we've had people do this before, where they think that they can go onto the site because they're an electrician or flooring or plumber or studio, like they do surround sound or whatever. And they think they can go in and they can go onto their site at night or when no one's there, and they can add things to their home that they don't want to pay upgrades for. If you get caught doing that, the builder will go in and they will rip out everything you did, and they will charge you back for the cost of ripping things out. So most builders nowadays do not allow you to do your own work on your own site, on your own project.
Right.
So be very clear.
Actually, they make you sign things now about
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
So be very clear when that you can't do that. You don't get to go in and add things to your home unless you've got an agreement with the builder. And if you think you're being sneaky, the builders will find it and they will rip it out.
And talking about things you want to see in your house, you need to understand that the thing you see in show home is highly likely the most upgraded things you can buy from the builder. So you won't ever have a fence, you won't have a backyard landscaping. Usually they include front yard landscaping and the passway.
Sometimes,
yes. Yeah. Usually it's no deck, no fence, no deck. So you need to be really careful when you look at the show home.
Yeah. Now, the other thing about clauses they include is sometimes they include an escalation price clause. So depending on the economy and what's happening, they may have a clause in their contract that states that if their cost increases to build your house, that they're going to increase your price. So we want to make sure that you have or don't have that clause in there so that you're aware that you may or may not have a price escalation clause. Because obviously the last thing that you want to do is find out on possession day that your house is costing you 100 or 50 grand more than you expected, because obviously that's not the kind of surprise you want on possession
There was
day.
quite a few complaints actually last year with the builders on that.
Yeah. Now, the other times is that sometimes they'll have contracts about people who buy new homes on speculation, and they're doing it for speculation. Now, actually, we just did a foreclosure on a fairly new home, and we were trying to assess probably why it already went into foreclosure. Something to think about as well, which a lot of people don't realize. So people used to buy these houses on speculation, and then they would sell them before possession day. Builders started putting clauses in that said that if you tried to do that, or if you did that, you actually paid the difference back to the builder. So anything you earned on it, because they didn't want to compete against their own product, you had to pay back to the builder. The other thing now is that there's a federal law that if you sell the house within the first year, unless you have good reason, that you're going to get taxed in any difference. So that speculation buying on new home builds is not as easy as it used to be. So speculation buying and flipping is not what it used to be because of the taxation anymore.
That's right. And talking about the cost, you have to remember that if you upgrading your home beyond the package that is given to you and what I was included with the sale of the home, 50% of those upgrades you have to pay in cash. You can't just like take all the upgrades and add to your price into your mortgage. Most likely the builder will ask you to pay 50% of those upgrades once you sign off on your selection. So one of those costs, and the other cost when you buying something you build, there is a little bit of different how you put the money in. So they can ask you for the deposit to hold the lot and give you 10 days to decide if you're building or not, or work on your new construction mortgage.
Usually $5,000.
Yeah, so and it varies, depends on how expensive your home is. So once you remove your conditional financing and you said to the builder, yes, I am going ahead and I've started building, they may ask you, depends again on a product, if it's kind of cheaper or more luxury product, it's between 5 to 10% that you have to bring them a check right away after the signing the purchase agreement. And then they can have all different kinds of things. Then you can wait till the home is built to bring the rest of the money to your lawyer, or they can have a stages. So they can say, oh, after we finish the framing and all foundation and the roofing, before we do interior, you have to put another 5% down. So
but your mortgage starts after possession date.
That's right.
Yes.
So you have to have certain cash amounts to pay out to the builder. It will be part of your down payment, but you have to aware that sometimes that down payment has to be paid to the builder faster than on a possession day to the lawyer.
Now, also know is that possession days are not guaranteed. They can actually have possession days where they give you a guideline, but then it's not guaranteed until they give you that 45-day possession
Sometimes
letter.
it's actually now 35.
35, so 35 to 45-day possession letter. And it's not guaranteed until that point. And so keep that in mind. If they say, hey, we think we're going to finish in December, I always tell people to plan for January or February because you don't know. Because if they have a shortage of labor, if they have a supply chain issue, if they have...
Which happens a lot right now.
Yeah, if they have challenges that come up while building your home, that possession can be delayed. So we always tell our clients to really not do anything drastic in their life until they get that 35 to 45-day letter to ensure what that possession day is. So don't book movers, don't anything like that, unless you have a backup plan.
Yeah, and one thing about that, even let's say your home is complete and you made like, I have to get out of my house because I already sold it or whatever, and I have a possession letter knowing that the garage is already available, you cannot move your stuff in a garage
that's a
either.
Great one.
Yes, the realtor is like, well, the garage is complete, the house is almost done. Can I just move my stuff into garage because I don't want to pay for my storage? Yeah. The answer is no, because the builder is actually liable for things that happens in a home. And if somebody comes and steals all your stuff out of the garage, the builder says, well, like, I cannot do anything about it.
Well, it's not even that. Is your stuff isn't insured by their insurance.
Yes.
They have too many trades coming in and out of that property. The keys are not transferred, which means that anyone could have keys and access to that garage. So yeah, that was a great point. I totally forgot about that.
That one actually comes up a lot, especially lately because of the delay of possession days.
Yeah. And many builders actually don't allow anyone but the purchasers at the walkthrough now, nor do they allow home inspectors to come during your walkthrough. So they've gotten very strict on their pre-possession walkthrough.
Usually I try to sneak myself in with the clients, as we talk, like,
Can you imagine Anna sneaking herself and she'd be like this behind the buyer?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see me.
I am not here. The builders generally do not like when I arrive because I use a lot of that green tape.
Yeah.
But, again, if you don't ask if your realtor is allowed for the walkthrough, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
And they don't prefer it. But if you have a good relationship, and usually I'm very involved in my clients' process. So the builders usually know who I am. They're like, okay, Anna, you can come. But if the answer is no, don't be surprised because that's a policy.
The other thing is a lot of people like to do on their new homes is they try and get a home inspector to come through with them on a pre-possession walkthrough to deal with any deficiencies. They generally won't allow that in most builders nowadays. But what I say is just get the home inspection right before your 1-year warranty walkthrough and just get the builder to fix everything then. Yeah. Because sometimes you just have to be patient. There's other ways to do it, but be patient. The other thing to know about is the legislation that was brought in 2016 of the Home Buyer Protection Act, which was, I think, great legislation. I think it was well needed, and it made mandatory warranties on every house. So there was a period prior to 2016 when you didn't have to have a warranty on a house, and it wasn't required. So sometimes builders would say there's warranties, especially the smaller builders, and then you would take possession and you'd call the warranty company and they'd say there's no warranty on this house. So now it's actually legislated in law that they have to have this warranty on the house. And you have the 1 year, which is materials and labor, which is usually the builder's warranty.
Yeah, it's an extended warranty program now to what even what it used to be. So much better.
Yeah. So on 2 years, it's heating, electrical, and plumbing is what's warranted up until the 2nd year of possession. After possession, and then 5 years is the building envelopes. So the roof and the exterior walls, and on the 10 year, it's frame and structural. So it actually used to only be 5 years.
Yes.
And then you could pay to extend it to 10 years, and now frame and structural is extended to 10 years by law.
Yeah.
So I actually
very
do
long
think,
time.
And we need to mention show home lease back program, I
yes.
guess.
Yeah.
For example, if you want to live in a community that's already been built, there is no construction size, nothing like that, you can consider to buy yourself a show home. So how it work? You're going and buy the show home, and the builder lease it back, like for
They become your
amount of-
tenant.
the builder become tenant, so they need to keep the show home until all areas been built. So it's around like 2-3 years, and they paying you like rent.
Rent
Their
agreement.
rent. Yeah. And then after that, you have your possession day, and you start owning
Yeah.
your property.
And those like properties, you'll be surprised
And
how
usually
fast they go. Like before,
really
yeah.
and usually it's 20% down.
Yeah, so okay, that's good to know.
But also too, is saying your home is a former show home actually is a resale. Like it's a resale benefit to be
That's
like,
right.
hey, it's a former show home, because that means
people like that.
that everybody knows that your house is all spiffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, like it's the best upgrades in all
Yeah, they
areas.
work with also like the
And
designers,
usually-
right? That to make
And
that.
usually the windows covering
Yeah.
stay,
Oh yes,
like
that's
all
true.
appliance
Yeah.
stay, like usually they have a deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
yeah,
yes.
the lights
And
And
you
usually-
sometimes
quite
you can get the
upgraded.
furniture too.
Yeah, sometimes you can
Yes,
negotiate the
you
furniture.
can negotiate the
yeah.
furniture, but if you want to do that, you need to put it in a separate contract.
Yeah.
The furniture.
Yes, and pay for it for cash because
Yeah.
you can't pay for it with your mortgage.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because it's depreciation, because like
Yeah.
it stayed there for 2 years, so it's like hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
figure out right away.
Now, also too, is you mentioned this before, Victoria, and you're right. Double check what's included in the landscaping, front, back, trees, whatever. And also too, is don't build fences until the houses on either side of you are built, because they won't claim responsibility if they have to dig a basement out beside you and your fence falls over. So we always say wait. First of all, you got to give a year for your land to settle, because they've dug up your land and put in your
That's right.
foundation. So give a year for your land to settle, then wait for the houses on either side of you to be built, and then don't build any fences until both properties on either side of you have been there for a year either, because otherwise you're going to spend a lot of money fixing a fence that you already built.
And you can cooperate with your neighbor once you have neighbors already.
if you
right?
have
You can
neighbors that
split
are
the cost.
cooperative.
That's right. Well, and talking about the fencing and stuff like this, you do after. I want to mention RPR. So you will get a real property report from the builder.
Not always anymore.
As is. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh my
And they're
God.
not. They're doing title insurance. A lot of them are doing title insurance, which I get.
Okay,
I actually
that's
get.
new.
Yeah, I get the
So it's
logic
even
why.
worse.
Yeah, I get the logic why they're doing the title insurance, because they know darn well that you're going to buy the property, and probably prior to selling the property, you're going to build a deck, you're going to put in AC, you're going to build your fence, you're going to need a new real property report anyhow. So a lot of them are only giving you title insurance now and not the RPR.
Okay. But if you do get an RPR, you get RPR with whatever is built at that point. So your house, if there's a deck, if there's a garage, it will outline that. So if you go and add AC, your central air conditioning, you put fence, if you add the garage, if you add any sheds, on the property, you extend your patio, things like that, you will have to order a new real property report. So don't rely, the builder got me one. It doesn't, if you add anything to the property.
That's permanent.
Yeah, it's permanent. And you're selling it, you will have to take that RPR, call the company that was hired before and update it.
Yeah, and also too, is fences are never included because builders don't want to deal with fences.
No.
So you can ask and they're going to say no.
Yeah.
Also window coverings routinely are not included, but
No.
double check. And if they are included, sometimes it's an allowance. Appliances are also routinely given to you as an allowance and not as actual appliances. They'll say, these are the appliances included. this is the allowance. You can go to Trail or you can go to Coast.
Sometimes the washer and dryer does not get included.
Yeah.
But all kitchen appliances usually included.
Yeah.
Well, it's an allowance though. A lot of times it's an allowance.
So if you spend it all on your kitchen stove, the rest you have to pay out of your pocket.
Yeah. So like if you want to buy, because we were in a house and it was a $3,000 fridge and a $2,000 stove and a $1,500 dishwasher, that probably exceeded the allowance that was given to those people.
It's
so
like
they
$5,000, to be honest.
Yeah, like that.
There is a lot of things to double check, and we can double check it for you.
That's right.
Exactly.
You have to remember
also,
that.
too, is pay close attention to the grading on your lot. Not just on your lot, but on the lots behind you. Because if your lot is graded this way, and then you're grading, it goes up, and you find out that your neighbor is basically hovering over you, that's something that you should know. And sometimes when everything's not built, it's difficult for you to see. We as realtors, because we know what to look for, we can tell when the lot behind you is going to be a walkout, because a lot of people don't like being in their house and having this big walkout lot looming above them, and it can hurt your resale. So be aware of what you're buying.
Yeah, the lot selection, I think, is the most important part before you even start building, because you have to.
It's all about location.
It's about the location. You can't move the lot. And you have to figure it out. The grading, you have to figure out if you have utilities on your property. Is it a utility right away? Do you gonna get a green box in the front or fire hydrant on your lot? Things like you need to know, because those things do affect the value of your home.
Absolutely. And other thing to know as well is if a builder's going to charge you like completely overprice an upgrade. So my favorite is AC. They always completely overprice AC. It's because they don't want to do it. So if their price on their upgrade is so ridiculous, it's because the builder doesn't want to do it. So you may be better waiting until after possession and doing it yourself.
And you can do, like, a lot of them do rough-ins.
Yeah.
So you'll do a rough-in and then you just get your own AC and you can pick the unit you like, the company you like, all kind of stuff versus what the builder provides, because the builder only works with certain suppliers. Whoever they have a contracts with, that's who installs everything in a home.
So you basically don't have any choice.
That's right.
Yeah. And a proposed school, just because when you're looking at your community plan and it says proposed school, it does not mean you're getting a school. It means it's an area set aside that may possibly one day possibly have a school.
I mean, it would be a field for a very long time.
It will be. So keep that in mind too, because the CBE is who decides where schools go, or the Catholic School Board, or the Alberta government, and it is not the builder who decides. They set aside land, hoping that maybe one day
the developer does.
The developer, but that's all that it is. So be very clear. Do not think because it says proposed school that you're getting a school, because you may not be. Also know what you're backing onto. So be very clear, because nothing's done and developed yet. So if you see something behind you, make sure it's not a condo complex if you don't want to back onto a condo complex, or a commercial space. So when I say commercial space,
like shopping
plazas. Like shopping plazas. So as an example, in Country Hills, a commercial space was built and people bought backing onto this commercial space. They now back on to the drive-through of McDonald's and they complain about it all the time. They knew they were backing onto a commercial space when they built. That's the outcome of that. So if it's not built and you don't know what's going there, be very, very clear that that's a risk that you're taking. Also, too, is I think we hit all the points.
Yeah. I feel like we're going over time.
We are way over time, but there was a lot to cover, and that was the only reason why I said we gotta keep going.
Yeah, hold on.
So yes, we are way over time, but it really was a lot of really great information.
So I don't think you can see the camera. Oh, there you go. We're gonna have to lift this up. So this is the prize of the month, and
it's gonna be so much fun in the summer.
It's a drinking game. So did you just put it on? Oh
no, I won.
So drinking game. So if you like and love, share, tag your friends of our show on all social media platforms. Your name will get entered to win this fabulous game that you can play with your friends on the patio or camping.
Or invite us and we'll come over and we'll show you how to play it.
Yeah, we suck at it, so we're probably gonna end up doing drinking.
What we're gonna be talking next week?
Next week we're talking about the Suburban.
Oh, we're making Suburban next week.
We're making the Suburban next week. Yeah. And we're talking about all you need to know about the outer-lying communities in Calgary. So if that is something, because there actually is a lot of super cool things that people don't realize when you go to these outer-lying communities on how they benefit you. So we're going to
Can you tell them what's outlying community is, because they might not know?
Outlying communities?
Yeah.
So the outlying communities would be like your far suburbs. It also could include Airdrie, Cochrane, Chestermere, Okotoks,
okay,
all that kind of stuff, High River. So there
so
may
we're
be
talking
more
about Calgary area.
Yeah, but it may be where you can better push your buying power and differences of distance, because a lot of people don't realize.
Awesome.
So, sorry, that's the wrong one because I seem to not be able to hit buttons today. Okay, if you're thinking about buying, selling, friends, family, coworker, anyone you know, anyone you're talking to, if you hear people in a coffee shop having a conversation of which you're not a part of, please jump over the table and say, Robin Moser and Associates, Anna, Victoria, and Robin are there to help you, and tell them to give us a call because we will make sure they're making.
Screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still experience a huge shortage of inventories. We have the buyers who are looking to buy and there is nothing to buy.
So if you want to list your house, call us because we're going to make sure that we're going to play this market to your favor. And that's super important right now because we want to make sure that you get the right amount of money and not sell your home too quick.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.